last week's video, we returned from our incredible overland and truck camping journey through Europe. If you haven't seen the season finale, where we stored the truck and spent time with my sister, her husband Waldemar, and their wonderful kids, make sure you check that out. This week finds us back at the cabin, taking a bit of time to relax, but also to get everything prepared for winter, and spending time with the boys and Caroline and Matt before they each head out on new adventures. Starting to realize. That's nice, guys. So good to be home. With as much fun as we had, what an incredible time we had in Europe so far, and it's not over, but it feels good to be home. And to see the kids and Lando, and this time of year is absolutely our favorite time to be up at the cabin, so we're excited.
Lando's like, that's my chair.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. The chair's as good as ever. Lando, come here. What do you got? Sit for a minute. Sit. No, the other paw. This one. Yeah, a good boy. That's a good boy. He doesn't know what to do.
This is like the first thing that we're doing as a family is walking together around the island. And you can just breathe in that crisp fall air. It is just beautiful, and I'm super thankful to be back safely and with the boys and Lando. We got to see Caroline and Matt, which was really, really nice. So yeah, we're gonna take this evening and just cook a cozy meal and enjoy each other and share some stories, and we'll see you in the morning.
Hey everyone, welcome to the cabin. As you know, we had an incredible time in Europe. If you haven't seen all those videos, we made a playlist so you could start from the beginning and watch right through. And I'm going to be doing an edit, which is kind of a summary of the whole trip so far, which is part one of our European adventure. As you know, we're going back to the truck. It's in Germany, in storage at my brother-in-law's place. So probably mid to end of November, we're going to be back in the truck heading more south through France and into Spain and that area. So we don't have a clear route made up yet, but we're going to figure that out.
We're getting close, and we will be having our son Daniel join us.
Which is exciting, yeah. I mean, anytime we get together as a family and travel, it just reminds us of the good old days. If you can believe it, next year, 2026, we'll have been living on the road and off the grid for 10 years. It's hard to believe, yeah. When we started out, we just couldn't even envision that we'd be out that long, we'd be traveling and living like this that long, but we fell in love with the lifestyle, and our kids have grown up having so many experiences around the world, and now working in the content creation industry. As you know, Pete's in Africa with the XO team, and he's a freelance cinematographer, and Dan has his own channel. Sometimes he's doing off-grid living here at the lake, and sometimes he does moto adventures. So to give you a bit of background about the cabin, when we started traveling, we kind of went full-time for like 2 years without putting our feet down. And then we said, wow, we need a break. And thankfully we had this cabin on an island that about 22 years ago, my dad, my brothers, and I bought. And it was just a place we'd come up on weekends from time to time. But that became the perfect place for us to kind of use as a home base for our family between our travels. And ever since then, we've been doing that. Spend a couple months on the road, a couple months at the cabin, sometimes longer stints on the road, but then we always come back. We did another 2-year stint back in 2020, and then we came home, and it was, it's always so exciting to have the variety of lifestyles. But in both cases, we're living off the grid. We generate our own electricity here. We've expanded the place over the years. It was just this cabin here that you see now, and we had a bed in the corner, and the kids had cots over here, and the fireplace, and everything in one room. And as the kids grew up, they outgrew that setup pretty quick, and so we built an addition off the back, and I can show you a bit of that footage. Back in 2018, we realized it was time to expand our cabin to make a little more room for our growing kids. Step 1 was tearing down an old bathroom that was built off the back of the log cabin, along with a small porch entrance beside it. Just got to get rid of this deck, dig down a bit of the dirt, and then it's time to start installing the screws. That becomes the foundation for the new floor. We got to truck in some more wood today too. Nobody said it was going to be easy. We got to work dismantling everything piece by piece, and then started excavating the ground to make space for a new addition on the back of the cabin. Every piece of material used in the project had to be transported by barge from the mainland to the island. With the site prepared, ground screws were installed to form a solid foundation, and before long the new walls began to rise. At this point, the kids could finally begin to imagine their new rooms taking shape.
And then with the bunk bed under it, so then if anyone else, if we had guests, they could sleep on the bunk bed.
What started as a simple plan to create more space soon became something much bigger, a transformation and a new chapter in the life of our cabin. In 2022, we overwintered. We did an entire year at the lake. That was something our daughter Caroline had dreamed of. She just wanted to be able to do mainly Christmas here.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin
Actually, and it actually shows you.
holy infant,
I had to take the.
And that was a huge adventure for our family and a huge learning curve, and we had to really prepare, get tons of firewood in because that's our main source of heat. We got battle-borne batteries put in. We built a shed so we could generate our own electricity, solar panels. It was unbelievable, and we didn't have a way to get off the island, so we knew there would be, from the time it starts to freeze until it's thick enough that you can get off the island on a snowmobile, you are stranded here. And it was 5 weeks that year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a long one.
Yeah, and we had to have all of our Christmas stuff in place, and freezer full of food.
Yeah, a lot of planning and thinking of everything, and first aid kits, and also like communication.
Off-grid
everything.
communications, like satellite-based
Right.
comms, because the minute someone leaves the cabin, you're no longer able to communicate.
Right.
There's no cell service, and once you're off the Wi-Fi here, so we really had to think that through. Then last winter we did another winter up here, which was this time Caroline's married, so it was just Carol and I and the boys and Lando. And it's a fun adventure, but it's tough. It really is tough. And I think the hardest part is that uncertainty during the shoulder season, where the ice is so unstable. I actually went through the ice on a snow machine, and that is still stuck with me. I've never gotten over that yet. I'm not afraid to go on the ice, but it really hit home how dangerous that is. So we did end up buying a fan boat, but even that's not a foolproof solution. There's still some risks in going from ice to water and water to ice. We ended up doing damage to it, which in this video we get busy repairing that. So this winter we're not staying here. We're going to take off around the middle of November, head back to the truck. We'll winterize the water system, close down the cabin, and then sometime in the spring, we don't know exactly when, we'll come back. And we might even come back early when there's still ice on the lake and use the fan boat to get in and out in the spring. That's a fun time of year. It's my favorite is after February, because then even if you get a big snowstorm, it's waning.
So in the wintertime, it is really rewarding to be up here. I mean, you'll see wolf tracks right by the cabin. You'll hear them at night. You get to see lots of different animals moving across the lake here on the frozen ice.
Yeah.
The one thing we have to do is bucket our water in. So you really value your water. So when you're taking a shower or you're flushing the toilet, you're using buckets or even doing dishes. So we would bucket the water, we'd make a bowl out in the ice, carry it up, and then set it by the fireplace to let the water come to room temperature. And that made it easier to, use our little hot water camp system for dishes or for showers. But yeah, it's a lot of work, but like I said, really rewarding. But this year we just want to be somewhere else, back in the truck, maybe a little bit warmer than here.
Yeah, I was looking at some of that footage, and I'll overlay it here. But just looking at it, I just got freezing cold.
So fall at the cabin is amazing. It's my
Best
favorite
time of year. I agree.
Perfect weather. The boys took care of the garden really well, so we're going to be harvesting the garden, getting it kind of cleaned up, and then chopping all the vegetables and freeze drying them for later meals. And lots of just odd jobs. You guys are going to be cutting down some trees.
Yeah, there's some trees that are in the back of the cabin and are much too close. When we built it, we didn't realize how close it would be, and every year they get bigger, and one's actually leaning towards the house. So we have to remove those trees. There's all kinds of jobs. We're getting firewood together and just having fun with the boys. Dan's going to be going on a trip to Europe, and Pete is going to be going on his trip to Africa. So we want to spend as much time with them as possible. Have all kinds of meals. Yeah. That is one of our favorite things about being at the lake, is just the family meals. And Caroline and Matt are going to be coming up as often as they can over the next couple of weeks.
Thanks again for coming along with us on the European trip, and now for a few weeks here at the cabin before we head back.
And hope you will join us on part 2 of the Europe series coming up real soon.
It's good to be back. And I have been slowly catching up with just detailing the cabin, painting, some garden work, but the boys sure did such an amazing job while we were away. I was really impressed. But yeah, so I'm just doing all the little mom stuff that I think boys kind of tend to overlook, but that's okay, because like I said, the house was spotless. They even lit some candles for me, and it was such a warm welcoming when we returned. The garden is just about done. We just have to harvest the tomatoes and the herbs, the celery and potatoes, and then there's a few peppers that are left on the vines. Pete Sr. got a nice cozy fire going. Lando's just been lounging because it's a beautiful plus 23 Celsius day, like typical fall in Canada. There's no wind on the lake. It's just, I don't know. The birds are out. You can hear a loon every once in a while. Right now, Pete Sr. is picking up Dan and Pete is returning back from his trip to Montana. So he asked when he was on his flight, he's like, can you please make kale soup? So I've been picking from the garden and using Dan's potatoes, which are lovely, and making a beautiful kale soup for him. And I'm sure Lando will be loving it. So I got some candles lit, the cabin all cleaned and detailed, and soup's on. Oh, I hear Pete and Dan. Oh, you got your pillow? You gonna show them that? All right, let's go. Let's go get the boys.
Pete Jr. just spent a week with the XOverland team in Montana, training for his upcoming trip down the west coast of Africa. As usual, Lando greets him with his favorite pillow. We're all excited to have him back at the island again. As we've been traveling through Europe this summer, we've relied on Saily to stay connected everywhere, without the outrageous roaming fees. We just downloaded the app, installed the eSIM once, and we were ready to go. You can choose a single country or regional plan. We chose a regional plan for all of Europe, and it worked perfectly in all the countries we visited, including right here in Latvia, all on the same plan. The daily benefits are huge. Skip airport sim lines, avoid scams, and protect your privacy with built-in web protection. Saley's ad blocker even saves you up to 28% of your data, giving you more to use where it matters most. Saley keeps you connected in over 200 destinations worldwide. Travel confidently, stay online, and enjoy your adventures without worry. Download the Saley app today at saley.com/epictrip and use the code EPICTRIP for 15% off. That's Saley, connection made simple. Good morning. Today we're going to start working on the fan boat. If you recall, last winter, actually it was near the end of the winter when a team from XO came to visit, the weather changed for the worse and we ended up in probably the worst conditions ever for using a fan boat, where we were going ice across the main lake, then there was a section of water, and then back onto ice. And with every passage of the water, we'd go across and we'd break a chunk off, and then going up onto the ice, we'd break a chunk off. And what ended up happening is on the very last run, I was coming through and I got myself caught in the middle of all these sharp, razor sharp chunks of ice, a foot thick, that were moving all over, and they boxed in the boat. And unfortunately, we punctured the side a little bit. Now, thankfully, it wasn't a full puncture. It split the fiberglass a bit, and as I moved forward, the water would come in, and I was able to get out of there and get home, but and get it safely parked on land. But we need to fix that now. You also see behind me, we've had the boat covered all summer. We just uncovered it now, but we're gonna change the oil and tune up the engine and all that and get it ready for the winter, and actually for the shoulder season, between summer and winter, and between winter and spring. That's when we use this boat.
So this whole area here is soft under this, what's left of the gel coat, and the fiberglass is split right here. So this is all soft. So I'm going to use the sander to sand off the gel coat everywhere that this crack goes, and a few inches out on the outside of the hull. And then we actually have a nice access point in the center of the boat here where I can get to the back end of that same split. I'll be able to sand that, and we'll be able to do a repair the fully proper way on both sides, and hopefully make it completely structurally sound again. And eventually, once the fiberglass is all good, we'll probably gel coat that as well and make it look nice again. It's helping up here to find the hard stuff and where the crack actually goes through or not. I just got to go wide down here because the crack comes right to here, and work it down until it's hard. And then once it's all done here, I'll do that on the other side. Inside the crack, it's not like an actual hole into the hull, it's split in 2 shelves. So I guess I'll have to fill that in. I gotta just lift up the boat a bit so I can sand under here to get around to the back here and remove some of the gel coat further back. And then I'd be ready to epoxy and fill that with fiberglass, the crack, and then layer up from here. How's it look back there though, structurally sound? So far.
Pete begins adding layers of fiberglass, starting small and gradually widening each layer to strengthen and fill the crack. When he's not working as a freelance cinematographer or filming expeditions around the world, he's creating content on his own YouTube channel, The Adventure Guys. He first learned these fiberglass repair techniques while restoring a sailboat. Check out his channel for all kinds of adventures, from overlanding and moto travel to sailing and off-grid living. After letting the first fiberglass layers cure for 24 hours, Pete continues to build up several more, covering the entire area.
So yesterday we put on another couple layers of fiberglass. We got in some spots that had thicker areas where we were refilling where the biggest chunks fell off. We did multiple layers building up from small to large, and then eventually this one big piece of fiberglass that stretched across the entire thing. Now it's all solid, it's hardened overnight, and it's fairly smooth. There's very few little divots. Where there are divots is where some epoxy built up, so that I'll have to sand that out to make it smooth all across. But then also where maybe a bit more fiberglass will have to be laid. There's like 1 or 2 areas where I think that might be the case, but they're very small, so I'm gonna sand all the fiberglass that was laid over the edge around the gel coat, get it all smooth and prepped and ready for a layer of gel coat once the final bits of fiberglass have been laid. But this is really good. It's now a rock solid side again. It's about 80% repaired.
One of Carol's favorite ways to relax is to head out and collect rocks and gravel from around the island. Orlando never misses a chance to come along for the boat ride. She's been collecting rocks and gravel for years, and the supply never seems to run out. After every storm, the waves push up another layer from the lake floor, waiting to be discovered. Whenever he gets a chance, Dan continues working on a cabin that he's building here on the island. And Pete's helping him to cut logs to fit and notch them into place. Slow, careful work, but deeply rewarding. Dan also shares his own adventures on his channel, Dan Van Strillen, where you can follow along as he builds and explores.
So what a beautiful morning. Just this whole week has just been incredible. Hardly any wind and just perfect fall temperatures. But today I'm going to be harvesting all of the celery. Our celery does really well up here, which I'm super happy about. But I'll be freeze drying the celery, and I have a lot of carrots. And I'm going to attempt with the celery leaves to make celery salt. I think that'd be really good on some meals. But yeah, like, take a look at this. Just gorgeous. Guess I should have brought a knife. The cutters aren't doing it. It smells so good. I'm just gonna finish cutting these and then I'll bag them and freeze them because all my trays are used now. And I'll collect all the leftovers and then make some vegetable broth and then start on the tomatoes. And then with this, I saw a recipe for some celery salt. So that's what I'll be using the leaves for.
One of the best pieces of equipment we've got here at the island is our Harvest Right freeze dryer. It allows us to preserve food long term in mylar bags, perfect for off-grid living. The beauty of freeze drying is that stored properly, food can last up to 25 years, retain nearly all its nutritional value, and when rehydrated, comes back with its flavor and texture. Throughout the winter, we're constantly dipping into the supplies we preserved from our summer gardens. We also use the freeze dryer to store entire ready-to-eat meals, which can be rehydrated in minutes, perfect for busy days or when we're camping and don't feel like cooking.
Yeah, that's good.
We're an affiliate with Harvest Right, so if you're thinking about getting one or just want to learn more, check out the link in the description. If you decide to purchase through the link, we receive a small percentage, and it really helps us keep the channel going.
So Pete Jr., this is his first morning back with us, and I had just roasted some chickens on the barbecue, and he wanted to make chicken noodle soup tonight, so from scratch. So that's what we're doing, is we're boiling the bones down with some of the carrot, celery, onion, and Pete taught me that you can put the cloves in to the onion, and then that way it doesn't get lost into the broth, and then it's easy to find, and it comes out at one piece. So I thought that was pretty clever.
Today, the boys are helping me take down a couple of trees that have grown too close to the cabin.
And then there's a bend right there, you go
One in particular leans towards the roof, and every year it becomes more of a hazard. So this is the perfect time to bring it down. Dan will also be able to make good use of the logs for his cabin build. One down. Nice logs there, dude.
Placed so hard by a branch when I was running.
Yeah? Oh, you ran into a branch.
You don't see the tree falling, you just hear it and you go, ah!
Find a maple down there.
You think it'll reach?
Yeah.
That one would make great logs for lower down.
No.
Okay, I'll
Might not need your maple or not. But as close as you need. As the sun sets on another beautiful fall day, we continue preparing the cabin so that we can return in February or March. We hope you enjoyed this week's video. Join us next week for some exciting family news. You won't want to miss it. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Every bit of support helps. Leave a comment below with your questions. We're planning a Q&A video soon. Links to Dan and Peter's channel are in the description, so go give them a follow as well. And in the meantime, we'll see you down the road.